Finally, Netflix has released the complete trailer of Dark Season 3. I know the first one was a teaser, but for practical purposes, we will call the official trailer second trailer. We are absolutely thrilled with the quality of the trailer that was presented to us, and we already want to solve all the unknowns and finish with this damn cycle. Here, it's worth reviewing some of the scenes because actually even this trailer was brilliant. So today, I bring you everything you missed from the second trailer of Dark Season 3. After the events of the apocalypse of June 27, 2020, Marta tells Jonas that she came forth to help him find the origin of everything. She refers to this as one single entity, one single thing that causes this endless loop in both worlds in a parallel way. Immediately afterwards, we observe Jonas as an adult, a Jonas who looks quite different than when he received the letter Noah gave him for the first time. This time, we will most likely see him at the time he jumped with Magnus, Franziska and Bartosz, which, as we had analyzed, may be 1888. In the following scene, we see a wonderful family tree where in the center appears the symbol of infinity, and from it branches to the two worlds. This is of great importance since we see that this is a rather peculiar and super intricate family tree, as we might suppose. In this image, we can see only 6 names: Hanno Tauber, Agnes Nielsen, Tronte Nielsen, Mats Nielsen, Daniel Canvald, and Ines Canvald. But we also see ramifications and we can intuit more characters that we already knew. Such is the case of Ulrich Nielsen and what presumably can be the parents of Noah and Agnes. It is strange to observe that there are no signs of Jana Nielsen, Tronte's wife, but that infinity points directly to Agnes. Here we can get 2 analyses. It is revealed to us in Season 2 that Agnes and Noah are brothers. Noah's real name is Hanno Tauber, and therefore both would have the same last name at birth. This is important since Agnes would have had to have married someone with the last name of Nielsen. I feel that when the family tree is fully revealed to us, it will be a blast as the great revelation will take us all by surprise. Then we observe Marta using the dimensional sphere once again. She is dressed in an old outfit that could belong to the late 1800s or early 1900s, which give us a clue that she lived there for quite some time since her clothes look quite worn out. Marta talks about an important date when everything started in both worlds that are inseparably connected. This date can be precisely June 27th or maybe the date of Mikkel's suicide. The phrase is quite open and make theories about this is something risky. We see Elisabeth apparently from World B with a pocket clock like the one she showed Charlotte. Immediately we see some hands and 3 elements, 2 of them unknown, a black folder, a notebook or book with the symbol of infinity in code and with traces of blood. No doubt this book will be aggressively taken from someone by a counterpart who wants to know what's inside. In the following scene, we observe that the one who delivers these elements is the mysterious character of the teaser along with his versions of the past and future, presumably delivering the clock and the book to which we can intuit is old Marta. In later scenes, we see the alternate versions of Katarina with the distinction of wearing glasses and bangs, Elisabeth with a different hairstyle and for half of a second, Ulrich with dark hair. This answers to why Magnus and Marta's versions of World B have different color of hair. The theory still remains as to whether they will be Hannah's children or Katarina's inevitably children, while a voiceover that may be Marta's says, "Everything repeats, no one is ready to let go." And this could be a wink that these 3 characters would have something to do with breaking the endless cycle, although we also briefly see Marta and Jonas when she is executed by Adam. Later on, we see 5 characters in an ancient time initiating the machine that gives origin to the God particle. Due to the clothes, the character that is closer to the camera would have to be Marta, and the other 4 characters, we can only make theories since they cannot be seen clearly, although it seems to be adult Jonas turning on the machine, Magnus, Franziska and Bartosz, who are the ones who travel at the end of Season 2 to a still unknown time. We also note that Charlotte is with Elisabeth, and both are at the same time, supposedly in 2052, for the use of the suits. these peculiarly colored suits we'll talk about in a moment. The new character observes at the same time that the two of them. They are looking to the God particle and they are in different space-time since we see the scene completely different. The first one completely in ruins and the second one where the mysterious character turns on the machine. It is with quite futuristic panels that fit the ether, as well as non-tip pyramid referring to you-know-who. The following scenes are quite peculiar. We see alternative Marta and Jonas entering some caves that do not seem to be those of Binden, seem to be more of a desert, and that opens many more questions than answers. A mysterious character observing in the future who is completely covered by the face, and it's impossible to infer who it is. Charlotte in the background voice warns that this apocalypse is also happening in her world, and we see a clearer picture of the reactors of World B, positioned opposite to those of World A. We see someone who is burying a body in an aerial shot without revealing absolutely nothing of who it could be. Point for the editors. And Peter, who looks much more old than the one in the bunker. It could be his alternative version or his older version. He's looking at a series of pictures of people who lost their lives, and presumably this could be due to the apocalypse. So the version that this is just an older Peter gains more force. Inside these pictures, we don't find any main character. After a dialogue between Marta and Jonas in which they discuss that many people will lose their lives and that this should be avoided, Marta puts in the air that the question of what if there can only be one world. Here there can be two possible outcomes. The first one referring to one of the two worlds having to be destroyed for the other one to survive, or they could be talking about a third one like many theories proposed all over the internet. A voice interrupts this discourse. We could assume once again that it is old Marta, making it clear that a world without her as a young woman is what Marta wants. Marta declares the same complaint against her old version as Jonas did at the time when they were promised that they could change everything, and we see images that I show you in my previous video of the hidden little teaser of Netflix Germany, with the mysterious character holding a letter and burning the whole Sigmundus headquarters. After all the scenes that are shown to us, there are three scenes that make us think that this is going to be head-breaking literally. The first one is clearly Elisabeth with the sweater we saw earlier, banging a bottle on someone older. Immediately after that, as we pointed out, is Katarina's mother. I know I told you that she might be hitting Helge because we know he will lose his eye, but when we see the next scene, we see the alternative Ulrich again stoning someone who could be Helge in this case. This opens up two questions. Who is Katarina's mother hitting hard? Could be Agnes or Hannah. We'll find out in 2 weeks. After the constant beating that we saw during 3 wonderful seconds, we observe that Jonas and Marta B leave the desert caves in another time. As if we will lack more to understand the plot, they add more elements to us in the last season of only 8 episodes, that I hope will be of 5 hours each at least. They are approached by the character that, in my opinion, is the first character that we observe from the band in the future in the distance, since you see him with his face covered in the same way. In the leather notebook, we see inscribed beginning of the last cycle, June 27, 2020, for its English translation, while Jonas fervently shouts at his version of the future that what Adams wants from him. Later, we see a clearly regretful and submissive Noah watching an unknown character. Everything is unknown in this series, my friends. Marta's version replied that she wants her journey to finally end. What can we get from these words? In my point of view, I think that the opposite sides are Marta and Adam. Marta who wants to finally end everything, and Adam who wants this to continue as it always has. A relationship of love and hate between these two characters that create a dystopic world. Later on, in one of the highlights of this trailer, we see a scene that seems to be in mirror, but it's not. They are two completely different hands, a masculine one on the left side and a feminine one on the right side, activating a lever that I imagine will be the one that triggers the events that have occurred, and I hope they leave the series in a loop. Adam pronounced that it is time, as we watch the God particle activate in World B, where, as I had anticipated, they will wear red anti-radiation suits and not yellow as in World A. They are worn by Charlotte and Alexander or Boris, whatever you want to call him. We observed a lightning bolt with a bestial power in the tunnels where previously Jonas and Marta crossed, and Jonas clamoring for his beloved Aunt Marta. And immediately we see who appears to be Katarina with an alternate version of Mikkel. I say it's a child from the scenario you see in the room. This would confirm that Hannah never gets Ulrich in any universe. Or she's just hugging Marta, but you can't really tell because Katarina is holding this character's face. Marta screams for Jonas while we observe a lightning strike on the arm of a character trying to repair the god particle machine. Could it be that it is adult Jonas and thus he disfigures his face? Or maybe Alexander Tiedemann? Jonas runs quickly after Marta and we observe a kind of bunker like in World A, but this one is in the desert. Immediately, we see the apocalypse and the destruction generated by it, clearly approaching Alt Magnus and Franziska declaring the end of these two characters in World B, and Jonas making a dimensional jump, literally, to rescue Marta from something, while she was talking with Alt Bartosz. In the last scene, and to clarify, we see that the mysterious character in its three different stages, like a Saiyan, meets Alt Marta who observes two paintings, one of Adam and one of Eve, that are separated by the frame of these paintings, while repeating the words, "This is how the cycle repeats itself," making clear the severe mental problems involved in falling in love with your nephew, as we see his alternative version also kissing Jonas. No doubt a roller coaster of emotions that leaves us with a terrible anxiety to see the culmination of this series that promised to become the best of all times. After the disappointment that many of us took with Game of Thrones, but will it have what it takes to unseat series like Breaking Bad? This trailer, set with the wonderful song The Pioneers by the legendary band Bloc Party, is no doubt another wink about what I think will be the two pioneers of all families, Jonas and Marta. As always, I would love if you share this video with all the Dark fans and comment down here if there's anything that needs to be analyzed. I'll see you in the next video that will be released in 1921.